The silver ship descended from the clouds, its hull gleaming in the morning sunlight. It moved silently, gracefully, before settling on an empty field outside Seoul. Government vehicles had already formed a perimeter around the landing site, keeping curious onlookers at bay. Taeho adjusted his glasses and took a deep breath. As South Korea's leading expert in theoretical xenobiology, he had spent his career preparing for this moment, though he never truly believed it would come during his lifetime. "Are you ready, Professor Kim?" Director Park asked, her voice steady, despite the historic moment unfolding before them. "No one could be ready for this," Taeho replied honestly. "But we must go forward anyway." The ship's surface rippled, and a doorway appeared where smooth metal had been moments before. The assembled scientists and officials fell silent. Military personnel tightened their grips on their weapons. The being that emerged stood taller than any human, with skin that shifted colors like oil on water. It had 4 arms and moved with careful precision, as if testing Earth's gravity with each step. "I am Yoon," it said, the words coming through a small device at what appeared to be its throat. "I represent the Galactic Concord, a union of 322 spacefaring civilizations." Taeho stepped forward as planned. "I am Professor Kim Taeho. On behalf of Earth, I welcome you." More aliens emerged from the ship. They set up strange equipment and began taking readings of the air, soil, and surrounding plant life. One alien approached a flower, studying it with 3 eyes that blinked independently of each other. "Your world is young," Yoon said. "Your species younger still. We have been watching you for some time." In the days that followed, a temporary research station was established. Humans and aliens worked side by side, sharing information cautiously. Taeho noticed how the aliens seemed puzzled by simple human behaviors. "Why do you ask?" Yoon questioned when Taeho inquired about their home world. "Does the information serve a practical purpose?" "We are curious by nature," Taeho explained. "Curious about things with no immediate benefit," Yoon noted. "Interesting." Jimin, the linguistics expert, spent hours each day with the aliens learning their language and teaching them more about human languages. "They have difficulty understanding our poetry," she told Taeho. "The concept of metaphor seems to confuse them." 1 month after first contact, the alien named Bomi arrived. She was smaller than the others and moved with quick, precise movements. "I am the chief researcher for the Concorde," she explained. "I have studied 12 sentient species before yours." Taeho was assigned to work closely with Bomi. They visited cities, forests, deserts, and ice fields. Everywhere they went, Bomi recorded data and asked strange questions. "Your people live in all these environments with minimal biological differences," she noted while they stood on a glacier. "How is this possible?" "We adapt," Taeho said simply. "We use technology and intelligence to survive where our bodies cannot naturally." Bomi's color shifted to a deep blue. "Most species evolve to fit one environment perfectly. You adapt to all environments adequately." Fascinating. What Taeho didn't know was that each night, Bomi sent detailed reports to the Concord Council. Her most recent report had caused significant concern. Humans show unprecedented psychological flexibility. They form social bonds based not on genetic relation, but on abstract concepts. They adapt to new ideas more quickly than any species we have encountered. This requires further study. 3 months after first contact, the first hint of trouble appeared. Taeho noticed the aliens had begun restricting human access to certain parts of their ship. Security around their compound had increased. "Is something wrong?" he asked Bomi during their daily meeting. "Some members of the Concord find humans unpredictable," she admitted. "This causes concern." That evening, Hyunwoo, the security chief, showed Taeho something disturbing. Their monitoring equipment had detected encrypted transmissions from the alien ship to deep space. The translation team had managed to decode parts of the message. "Human adaptability exceeds all projections. Potential for rapid development. Recommend caution in knowledge sharing. Possible need for containment measures." "What does containment measures mean?" Hyunwoo asked, his face grim. "Nothing good," Taeho answered. "But why would they fear us? Their technology is centuries beyond ours." The answer came a week later when Bomi shared footage from 12 different worlds in the Concord. Each civilization was remarkably stable, having maintained nearly identical social structures for thousands of years. "We value harmony and predictability," Bomi explained. "Your history shows constant change, revolution, reinvention." "That's how we progress," Tejo said. "That's what frightens the Concord," Bomi replied. "They worry about what you might become." As Tejo looked up at the night sky, he understood for the first time that humanity's greatest strength might also be what made the galaxy fear them. The stars no longer seemed like distant points of light but watching eyes, wondering what these strange, ever-changing humans would do next. 6 months had passed since the aliens arrived. Now their research bases dotted Earth's surface, one in the Amazon rainforest, another in the Sahara Desert, a third in Siberia, and more. Bomi led the main research team, working closely with Tejo and other human scientists. "Your species continues to surprise us," Bomi said as they watched children playing in a park. The alien skin rippled with pale green patterns which Tejo had learned meant deep thought. "How so?" Tejo asked, offering her a cup of coffee. Bomi had developed a strong liking for the drink, something her fellow researchers found amusing. "Those children are playing a game they just invented. They made new rules when they disagreed with old ones. No other young species we've studied does this so naturally." Bomi tapped notes into her device. "You change your behaviors without genetic pressure. It's unusual." At the Desert Research Station, Jihoon was monitoring human settlements that survived in extreme heat. The young alien researcher had been fascinated by how people adapted to such harsh conditions. He had gone alone today, against protocol, to observe a small village near the edge of the desert. His camouflage field flickered and failed as he crouched behind a rock. The heat was interfering with his equipment. Before he could retreat, 3 humans spotted him. Jihoon froze. Contact outside official channels was strictly forbidden. He waited for them to run away in fear or perhaps attack him. Instead, they approached slowly, hands raised in a peaceful gesture. "Water?" an old man asked, offering a precious flask. "Very hot today. Not good to be without water." Jihoon accepted the flask with trembling hands. These humans had little water to spare, yet they shared it with a strange alien. When a sandstorm appeared on the horizon, they invited him to shelter in their home. Back at the main base, Dongwu analyzed the data from all research stations. The patterns made no sense to him. Humans in the Arctic eat mostly meat and fat. Humans in tropical regions eat mostly plants. Humans in cities eat processed foods. Their digestive systems should be specialized, but they're not, he reported to Bomi. They adapt to almost any diet. The same applies to their social structures, Bomi added. Some live in groups of thousands, others in small family units, yet they function similarly. Deep in space, the Concord Council received these reports with growing concern. The council chamber, a vast hall with representatives from hundreds of species, buzzed with worried conversation. Councillor Sunmi stood to address the gathering. "These reports about humans show a species unlike any we have encountered. They adapt too quickly, change too easily. Are they a threat?" asked Councillor Jae-hyun, his tentacles waving nervously. "Unknown," Sunmi replied, "but their unpredictability makes them potentially dangerous. They form alliances based on ideas, not genetic relationships. This makes their behavior hard to predict." Meanwhile, at the Mountain Research Station, alien researchers watched as human climbers scaled a sheer rock face. "Why do they risk death when there is no food or resource at the top?" one asked. "They call it challenge or adventure," another replied. "They seek difficulty on purpose." This information was added to the growing report on human psychology. While most species in the galaxy avoided risk unless necessary for survival, humans often sought it out deliberately. Tejo had begun to notice changes in how the aliens treated him. They asked more probing questions. They restricted access to their technology. Something had shifted. "Bomi," he asked one evening as they watched the sunset, "what does the Conquered really think of humans?" Bomi's skin darkened, a sign of discomfort. "Some fear what they don't understand." and they don't understand us. No, she admitted. Your adaptability is concerning to many. Before Taiho could ask more, alarms blared across the compound. A message had come from the Desert Research Station. Ji-hoon was missing. Hours later, Ji-hoon returned safely, escorted by the same humans who had sheltered him. Instead of capturing or harming the alien, they had protected him and helped him return to his base. They gave me food and water, Ji-hoon reported, still shocked. They asked questions about the stars. They showed me pictures of their children. They treated me like family. That night, Bomi sent an urgent message to the Concord Council. Human behavior continues to defy our models. They show unexpected kindness to strangers, even alien ones. Their concept of tribe extends beyond genetic lines. They adopt outsiders readily. Counselor Sunmi read this report with growing alarm. A species that bonds so quickly with others could spread its influence too rapidly, she told the council. We must consider containment options. Unknown to the humans, a debate now raged across the galaxy. Were humans a promising new addition to galactic society, or a destabilizing force that needed to be controlled? As Taiho fell asleep that night, he dreamed of stars closing like eyes turning away from Earth. He woke with a sense of dread he couldn't explain, a feeling that somewhere far above, important decisions about humanity's future were being made. Without their knowledge, the ground shook as buildings collapsed. Water rushed through the streets of the coastal city. The tsunami had struck with little warning, waves over 10 meters high crashing against the shoreline. Bomi stood with her research team on a hillside, watching the disaster unfold. We should leave, Dongwu said, his skin pulsing with distress colors. This area is not safe. But Bomi couldn't look away. Something unexpected was happening below. Humans were running, not away from the danger, but toward it. What are they doing? She asked, adjusting her viewing equipment. The logical response is to seek higher ground. Taiho, who had been coordinating with emergency services, rejoined the alien observers. They're rescue workers, he explained. They're trying to save people trapped in buildings. But they risk their own lives, Bomi said, her voice reflecting confusion. Some will die trying to save strangers. Yes, Taiho said simply. They will. For 3 days, Bomi observed the rescue efforts. She watched humans dig through rubble with bleeding hands. She saw them share limited food and water with strangers. She recorded as they formed new social groups instantly, working together despite having never met before. This behavior exists in no other species, she reported to the Concord. They value unknown individuals enough to risk death. This is not logical by any biological standard we understand. The Concord Council called an emergency session. The reports from Earth had become too concerning to ignore. These humans reorganized their social structures instantly during crises, Counselor Sunmi explained to the gathered representatives. They form cooperative groups with strangers. No species should be able to do this. Counselor Jae-hyun, who had initially advocated caution regarding humans, now spoke with alarm. Our xenopsychologists believe humans can change their fundamental beliefs within a single lifetime. This makes them dangerously unpredictable. Back on Earth, Taiho had been granted limited access to the Concord historical archives as a gesture of diplomatic goodwill. What he found shocked him. Most conquered species took thousands of years to develop unified planetary governments, he told Jimin, as they reviewed the data. Some took tens of thousands of years. And humans? Jimin asked. We've compressed similar social evolution into centuries, Taiho said. What takes other species 50 generations, we do in 2 or 3. This revelation troubled Taiho. If humans developed so much faster than other species, how would the galactic community view them? As promising partners or as dangerous competitors? He brought his concerns to Bomi during their weekly research review. The Concord seems worried about our rate of change, he said carefully. Are we being evaluated as potential threats? Bomi's skin turned a deep blue, a color Taiho had never seen before. I should not tell you this, she said after a long pause. But yes, some on the council fear what humans might become. Because we adapt quickly? Because you transform yourselves Bomi explained. All other known species evolved through natural selection over millions of years. Humans evolved through ideas that spread within days. You can completely reimagine your societies within a single lifetime. Taiho sat back, understanding the implications. And this frightens the Concord. It terrifies them, Bomi admitted. A species that can change its fundamental nature so quickly cannot be predicted, cannot be controlled. That evening, Bomi sent her most detailed report yet to the Concord Council. In it, she included historical examples of how human societies had transformed dramatically, from monarchy to democracy, from religious to secular, from isolated to global, in time frames that seemed impossible by galactic standards. Their psychological plasticity exceeds all known parameters, she wrote. Humans can abandon deeply held beliefs when presented with compelling alternatives. They can reimagine their entire social structure within generations. As the Council read this report, panic began to spread. If humans could change so fundamentally so quickly, what would happen when they gained access to advanced galactic technology? How fast would they develop then? What would they become? In the council chamber, Sunmi called for a vote. We must decide now. Are humans to be welcomed as members of the Concord or contained for the safety of galactic stability? The debate lasted for hours, growing increasingly heated. Unknown to the council, a junior clerk was so disturbed by the discussion that he broke protocol. He transmitted the classified human assessment report to the public information network. Within days, knowledge of humanity's unique nature spread across 12,000 worlds. Species that had enjoyed millennia of predictable, stable existence suddenly faced the idea of humans, beings who transformed themselves constantly, who defied biological logic, who might change the very fabric of galactic society. As news of humanity's true nature reached distant stars, the calm, orderly Concord faced something it had not known in 20,000 years. Panic. On Earth, unaware of the spreading fear they had caused, humans continued their daily lives, changing, adapting, transforming, evolving, doing what had always seemed normal to them, yet what the galaxy now realized was the most frightening ability of all, becoming something new. News about humans spread across the galaxy like wildfire. On the desert world of Kiros, citizens built underground shelters. On the ocean moons of Sentia, religious groups gathered in temples to pray for protection. Trade ships changed their routes to avoid Earth's solar system. The galactic Concord, stable for 12,000 years, faced its first real crisis in living memory. The humans can change themselves, worried voices whispered across star systems. What will they change us into? Bomi received urgent messages from her superiors. Return to Central Command immediately, the order said. But she refused to leave Earth without explaining the situation to Taiho. The galaxy fears you, she told him in the quiet of his office. Not for what you are now, but for what you might become. Taiho struggled to understand. But we're centuries behind your technology. How could we possibly threaten the Concord? It's not your weapons they fear, Bomi explained. It's your ideas, your ability to transform. Most species in the Concord have remained essentially unchanged for thousands of years. They find comfort in stability. And humans don't, Taiho realized. You embrace change. You seek it out. This terrifies them. On the Concord military station orbiting the gas giant Helios, Commander Minsu addressed his officers. His skin glowed red with determination. The council debates while danger grows, he said. These humans multiply and adapt too quickly. If we wait until they reach the stars, it will be too late. His second-in-command looked troubled. The council has not authorized military action. The council hesitates, Minsu replied. We must act now before humans develop further. A single decisive strike against their major population centers. For the safety of all galactic civilization. Within hours, Minsu had convinced key military leaders. They seized control of the nearest battle fleet, 12 warships armed with weapons that could level cities. On Earth, the first warning came from Dongwu, who had intercepted communications between the fleet and their base. "They're coming," he told Bomi and Taiho. "A rogue military faction. They plan to attack Earth's major cities." The news spread quickly. Nations that had been enemies for centuries suddenly faced a common threat. Old rivalries were set aside in hours. Hyun-woo, who had been working with alien technology experts, called an emergency meeting. "We have something they don't expect," he said, displaying plans on a screen. "The research exchange gave us enough to develop basic defenses. But nothing that could stop their warships," Jimin pointed out. "Not alone," Hyun-woo agreed. "But if we coordinate globally, we might surprise them." What followed was unprecedented in human history. Every nation shared their best technology and brightest minds. Scientists who had been working in secret for their governments now worked openly together. In just 7 days, Earth prepared as best it could. In space, Bomi sent urgent messages to the Conquered Council. "This attack is unauthorized. Stop them before they destroy any chance of peaceful relations." But the council was in chaos. Many secretly supported Minsu's plan, believing it necessary. Others opposed violence but couldn't agree on alternatives. By the time they organized a response, the battle fleet had already entered Earth's solar system. The ships appeared in the sky like new stars, visible even in daylight. People looked up in fear, but the expected attack didn't come immediately. Instead, Commander Minsu broadcast a message to Earth's leaders. "Your species threatens galactic stability," his translated voice announced. "Surrender your major cities for occupation, or we will be forced to destroy them." The world leaders gathered virtually and reached a decision in just 30 minutes. Another example of the rapid adaptation that so frightened the conquered. "We refuse to surrender," came the unified response. "But we invite you to land and discuss terms. Violence serves neither of our interests." Minsu had not expected resistance. His intelligence suggested humans would fracture under threat, each nation seeking to save itself at the expense of others. This unity confused him. "They're stalling," he told his officers. "Prepare the first strike." But as the warships moved into attack position, they encountered something unexpected. Earth's combined defensive systems activated simultaneously. No single system was particularly advanced, but their coordination was perfect. Thousands of small craft launched from Earth, confusing the alien targeting systems. When the aliens fired, their weapons most missed their targets or were intercepted. The few that reached Earth caused damage, but nothing like the devastation Minsu had planned. The counterattack surprised the aliens even more. Earth's hastily assembled weapons weren't powerful, but they had been designed specifically to target the weaknesses in alien ship design that Hyun-woo's team had identified. 3 alien ships were disabled before Minsu ordered a retreat. The battle had lasted less than 2 hours. In the aftermath, as both sides assessed the situation, an official Concord peacekeeping fleet arrived. They placed Minsu under arrest for acting without authorization. The council representatives who arrived on Earth expected to find humans demanding revenge. Instead, Earth's leaders proposed a galactic forum to address concerns directly. "We could demand retribution," President Han said to the shocked Concord delegates. "Instead, we offer understanding. Your fear makes sense. We often fear ourselves. Let's talk about how we can move forward together." This response, more than anything else, demonstrated why humans were so different. They had just been attacked, yet they adapted their response not toward war but toward peace. The Grand Assembly Hall of the Concord stretched for nearly a kilometer, with seats for representatives from hundreds of worlds. Today, for the first time, humans sat among them. Taiho felt small in the vast chamber, but he sat tall as Bomi approached the central platform. "Honored Council," Bomi began, her voice carrying through the hall. "I have spent 1 Earth year studying humans. My findings require us to reconsider everything we believe about sentient development." The chamber grew quiet. Even species that had been loudly opposed to human inclusion wanted to hear her research conclusions. "Humanity's true nature is not aggression or benevolence," Bomi explained. "It is transformation. They change themselves continuously, not just over evolutionary time but within generations, within years. sometimes within days. She displayed evidence on the massive screens, human cities rebuilt after disasters, not as they were before, but improved, human beliefs evolving as new information became available, human social structures adapting to new challenges. When our fleet attacked Earth, humans united globally in 6 days, she said. After the attack, they offered peace rather than seeking revenge. No species we know could make such psychological shifts so quickly. Counselor Jae-hyun, once fearful of humans, now addressed the chamber. I opposed human contact initially. I believed them too unpredictable, but I have studied their history and found something remarkable. He moved to the platform beside Bomi. Humans have repeatedly overthrown their own deeply held beliefs when presented with better ideas. No other species does this willingly. We all resist change even when it would benefit us. Murmurs spread through the hall. Many representatives shifted uncomfortably, recognizing truth in his words. What we feared most about humans may be what we need most, Jae-hyun continued. The conquered has been stable for 12,000 years, yes, but also stagnant. We solved the same problems the same ways, century after century. In the months that followed, a new relationship formed between Earth and the conquered. Humans would not receive full membership immediately. Instead, they would enter a modified partnership, learning from galactic civilization while sharing their unique perspectives. 1 year after the failed attack, the first human diplomats traveled to worlds where conflict had persisted for thousands of years. On the twin planets of the SETI system, 2 species had fought over resources since before humans discovered fire. "Why do you mine separate asteroids?" asked Minhee, the human representative. "Your technology allows both species to use the same resources without competition." The local leaders had no answer except, "This is how it has always been." Minhee helped negotiate the first shared mining operation in their history. Within a decade, similar human-led initiatives helped resolve conflicts across 12 star systems. "They have no historical biases in our ancient conflicts," Counselor Sunmi observed. "They see solutions we cannot because our thinking is fixed by thousands of years of tradition." On Earth, changes came too. Alien technology helped solve environmental problems. Medical advances extended human lifespans. The knowledge that humanity was not alone in the universe shifted religious and philosophical thinking. What surprised the conquered most was how humans embraced these changes. Where other species had resisted new ideas for centuries, humans incorporated them within years. Earth's cultures didn't vanish. They evolved, taking the best of galactic knowledge while maintaining their unique human elements. They don't just accept change, Bomi noted in her ongoing research. They seek it out, celebrate it, build it into their stories and songs. 10 years after first contact, a ceremony marked the opening of the first Human Innovation Center on the Concord capital. World. The center would host human thinkers, bringing their unique adaptability to bear on problems the Concord had struggled with for millennia. Taiho, now serving as Earth's ambassador, stood with Bomi on a balcony overlooking the Concord's central city. Below them, humans and aliens walked together through gardens designed to accommodate all forms of life. "When you first came to Earth, did you ever imagine this?" Taiho asked. "Never," Bomi admitted. "We thought we might need to contain your species. We feared what you might become. And now we hope for what you might help us become," she said. "The conquered has been unchanging for too long. We forgot that adaptation is not just how species survive, it's how they thrive." Taiho looked out at the horizon, where the light of 3 suns created a perpetual golden afternoon. The galaxy panicked when they discovered our true nature. But nature isn't fixed. That's what you couldn't understand at first. Bomi's skin rippled with colors that Taiho had learned meant agreement and affection. And now the Concord itself is changing, becoming more adaptable. Your influence spreads. Below them, a group of children, some human, some alien, played together in a park. They had invented a new game that combined elements from both cultures. As Taiho watched, they changed the rules when they encountered a problem, adapting instantly. "That's the gift of humanity to the stars," Taiho said softly. Not our technology or our strength, but our willingness to become something new. The sun set slowly on the first decade of humanity's cosmic journey, not as conquerors or as subjects, but as teachers of change in a galaxy that had forgotten how to transform.